Hey, what's going on, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of the Two-Man Game. It's been a little while, not a lot going on in the NBA landscape at the moment, but we just had the Olympics, and today we want to both talk about that and give our biggest takeaways, and then go ahead and give a early prediction, because more can still happen throughout the offseason, but our current predictions on the over-under win total for every single team, the ones that have just released recently. We're going to tell you how we basically think every squad is going to do this upcoming season. It should be a lot of fun, but before we get into all of that, leave a like and subscribe here on YouTube if you enjoy the episode. Go ahead and pre-download, rate 5 stars, whatever, over on Spotify. And I got to go ahead and ask my co-host Ryan, my brother, how you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good, man. I've been a traveling man for the last couple of weeks, and you kind of have too. You were in Las Vegas. We both were in Connecticut, and then I spent some time with you in New York City. And then I flew into the good old Midwest to play some of my disc golf, which I did very well in a national tournament. So
everyone dropped down below a W, Ryan.
Yeah, I did very good. This hat, by the way, is from a course. This is a course named Maple Hill in Massachusetts. Don't worry, I'm not supporting Team Canada, even though Team USA just took the gold down. I'm not boycotting in any way. I just kind of dig the hat, and I picked it up and I was like, oh, red, white, and blue, Team USA. I was like, oh wait, it has a maple leaf on it.
Yeah, it's a little bit of both, but the fact that they weren't playing Canada, I mean, even France, like their color has red, white, and blue in it too. So you're kind of playing every side. It feels like.
Yeah, I just been wearing this hat around. I'm just kind of letting people interpret, what team I'm rooting for. But I'm doing pretty good, man. I'm excited for hoops to get back. Watching the Olympics definitely got me excited for the NBA to get back. And we both saw our favorite players play basketball, so that was pretty cool. So I'm pretty pumped, man. And I think my favorite thing about the Olympics, and I think a lot of people can relate to this, is I was rooting for players that I've never rooted for. So like, for example, like I like Steph Curry. He's actually one of my favorite players, but I've never watched him play basketball and just got so hyped. Like I would if I watched like Joel Embiid or Tyrese Maxey hit a big shot for Philly. Like Steph hit the first three to, make the lead a little bit bigger. And I just was like, yes, go Steph, let's go. And then, he kept going and going, and I was just getting so hyped. And then like LeBron would, make a good defensive play or a good pass. And I was getting really hyped. And I enjoy watching these people play. And I really, don't take for granted watching these really great players, do their thing. But I've never been like such a fan of them as I felt like I was, especially in that gold medal game the other day. Yeah, man. I mean, I tweet about this, but it's crazy to actually get to root for Steph Curry after years of him decimating the Thunder. It's just always what he's done back to 2016 when he was doing all that. For years, Steph Curry was the enemy of the Thunder. And even though I hated the Warriors in those years, especially the Kevin Durant ones, like I always appreciated Steph Curry. He's always been one of my favorite players, one of my favorite players to watch. LeBron's one of my favorite players of all time. And I feel like, just maybe I'm different than other people who are bigger haters, but I thought this Team USA squad was pretty likable. I liked everybody on that squad. It was a lot of fun to watch them out there hooping together. Everybody played some type of part throughout this tournament. Did Haliburton play?
He played some moments. I mean, he did go ahead and tweet out the picture of him with the gold medal. And he said, when you get A+ on the assignment and don't do anything, which I thought was hilarious.
I wasn't even sure if he got on the court, to be honest. I wasn't sure.
Yeah, he got in a couple of moments, like mainly some garbage time minutes, which is kind of unfortunate. I'm hopeful that he will play in 2028. I would be surprised if he doesn't, because I think they said that he's kind of locked into the system now. And he just feels like one of those players that would be so good in this Olympic setting with his playmaking. I mean, you see what he did turning that Indiana squad into one of the best offenses of all time. Imagine what he can do with all these weapons around him with the Olympic squad. So I was hopeful we would get a little bit more of Tyrese. But I mean, I understand. Like, it's hard to get minutes for everybody when Drew's playing so well. He's this great defender. You, of course, got great guards like Anthony Edwards and Devin Booker. Like even Jason Tatum isn't getting that many minutes as we go through this. Like Derek White didn't end up playing in that final game. It's tough. I mean, there was even a game where Joel Embiid didn't play. And I wonder what it would have even looked like if we had Kawhi Leonard on this team. Like, then how did the minutes even shake out? Does Jason Tatum ever even get on the court? If that was the plan, it was a lot of narratives kind of surrounding it. But in the end, I hope people just appreciated the fact that it almost felt like an end of an era in a way, watching Steph, LeBron, and Katie out there playing together. And, LeBron winning Olympics MVP and Kevin Durant mostly coming off the bench, but torching everybody. That one mid-range jumper he had against Serbia was huge for them to go ahead and win that game. And then Steph Curry, doing his thing, going ballistic with one of the better 2-minute stretches I've ever seen from a player at the end of that game against France. Like that three that he pulled over Batum and Fournier fading away, I was like losing my mind. And in that moment, I'm like, I can't believe Warriors fans have gotten to feel like this watching Steph Curry
Yeah, no,
for
seriously.
years. It made me mad. I was like, this is unfair. The fact that they got to watch him, be one of the best players on the team, lead them to 4 rings. It just feels like it's unfair.
That was a good time, man. I'm pretty sad it's over, but like I was saying, I'm really excited now for actual basketball to start. And not that this is fake basketball by any means, but that we all love watching international hoops. But I think if you're watching this podcast, and Connor and I can both speak to this, we're NBA fans and we're very pumped, for the season to start with a bunch of moves and stuff that have went on, and that kind of segues us a little bit into what our episode is going to be about, which is basically looking at the win totals that we got from. You said it was FanDuel.
I don't remember where it was from, but it was
some predictor website.
Yeah, some website. I mean, most of the Vegas odds are kind of all the same. But I went ahead and put together a table here. It is every team. We did East first and then West. But it's the squad, what their over-under is for this upcoming season. So if you don't know what that means, basically Vegas goes ahead and gives every team a projected win total for the upcoming year. So for the Celtics, it's 58.5. So you can either bet over or under. Under means you think they will get less than 58.5 wins, and over means that you think they'll get more. So you either think they get 59 plus, which is the over, or 58 or less, which is the under. So we want to go through, and we did this last year. I should have went back and checked at how we did it. That maybe I'll do that before we get into next episode. And I'm sure this is something we'll revisit a little bit when we get to our season-long predictions. That would be fun too. Maybe we go into our predictions for this upcoming year and then look back on what we did last season and see what we got right, what we got wrong. That might be a fun episode to do. But yeah, so I also put in last year's win total to kind of give you some context. We'll go through every team, what kind of moves they made, and give a prediction. Each of us are going to go ahead and give one. This is something you can look at. And we're recording this on Sunday, August 11th. So if by tomorrow, Monday morning, when I post this, something big changes, we don't have that knowledge, Jeremy Grant gets traded to the Lakers, whatever, something happens, just know.
Yabusele gets picked up by someone.
Yeah, exactly. Gershon Yabusele is out there, carrying the San Antonio Spurs alongside Wemby to 50 wins. These aren't things that we're privy to yet. Also, same thing if you're coming back here 2 months in the future, mid-season. I mean, I guess mid-season, if nothing happened, you can look back and say that we're idiots or frauds or whatever. But if something changes, do not come back to this episode and give us that. So yeah, that's what we're going to be doing for the rest of the episode. One last thing I want to shout out for the Olympics. Shout out to Wemby, who was awesome in that game against Team USA. A little bit scared that afterwards he said that I'm scared for them. And they were like, who? Like the rest of the world in the Olympics and stuff, the NBA. And he said all of them. Very scary stuff coming from Wemby for this upcoming season, but we'll get into that, I'm sure, when we get to the Spurs. So yeah, I ordered this based off where everybody finished in the standings last year in the East, and then we'll get into the Western Conference after that. So yeah, first up are the Celtics. They won 64 games last year. They were the number 1 overall seed in the East by a lot. This year's win total is down a little bit, 58.5, understandable. It's hard to replicate a 64-win season. One big piece that we have to note, Kristaps Porzingis is expected to be sidelined until some point in December, according to reports. So that is important to keep in mind going into this year. I think off the bat, I'm tempted to say over, but I feel like it's right there. I think this is a really good line. I think right around 58, 59 wins is right about where I would have the Celtics. It wouldn't surprise me at all if they got to 60, but I do think missing Porzingis for that beginning portion of the year could be kind of tough depending on what their schedule looks like to start the season.
Yeah, I was going to take the over too. You kind of took the words right out of my mouth. I was going to say they kind of feel like a 59-60 win team, or if they won 57 games, we wouldn't be surprised either. But I think this is a very fair total, and I do think they're going to be one of the better teams in the Eastern Conference. So picking them to win, 59-60 games, I think is a very fair prediction.
Yeah, so I'm going to go over. I think it's just barely, though. I still think they can get to 60 wins, even with KP missing some time. This is a really good squad. Although, how many games did KP play this past season? Because I know he missed some time throughout the year. He played 57 games. So he missed 25. So that could be right around when he misses again this season. Yeah, I'm going to give them the slight over, I think. I don't think they're a team that's going to have really that big championship hangover. They are still a dominant squad. They ran away with the East. The East did get better, though. I don't know. I might come back to this.
Worse at the bottom, though.
That is true, actually. Yeah, there's a lot more bottom feeders. Okay, I feel good about the over then. I'll stick with this. But okay, next up are the Knicks. 53.5 wins. They won 50 last year. Added Mikal Bridges. Lost Isaiah Hartenstein. They also now are going to have no Emmanuel Quickley or RJ Barrett. This is their first full year with OG Anunoby. They also missed Julius Randle for a lot of last season, too, which is another big thing to take into account. I think right off the bat, I'm going to go over. This
I'm going
feels like
over
a
as
team
well.
that could, yeah, this feels like a team that could win like 55 games, like 54. I think it's clear they're one of the top 3 teams in the Eastern Conference. This is a squad that feels stacked. The only thing I think that could really hinder them is if like Mitchell Robinson gets hurt. You know, OG Anunoby was kind of banged up last season too. I mean, Mikal Bridges is an Iron Man. I guess we'll see how Julius Randle looks when he comes back and how it all integrates. There could be a little bit of like growing pains maybe to start the season while they really figure this thing out. But at the same time, like Mikal and OG aren't players that are going to step on people's toes, you know? So I feel pretty good about it over here.
Yeah, I do think kind of like you said about the growing pains is that Julius Randle really never played with any of these new players because he didn't play a single game, did he? Post trade deadline, I don't think he did.
I don't think. Yeah, I don't think he played a single one post trade deadline. No,
Yeah, so
if he did, other guys were out.
So he's never played with a lot of these guys, and he's also never played with guys that some, you know, in some of the roles that they're in. Like Dante DiVincenzo was not putting up as many shots as he was at the end of the season with Julius Randle lineup. Even, you know, Brunson was good all year, but Brunson kind of went from being like an alpha to like an S tier player, you know what I mean, when Julius Randle went out. So it'll be interesting to see how Julius Randle kind of was the guy, you know, for the Knicks for so long, and now he's a clear second fiddle to Brunson after Brunson really broke out towards the end of last year. So I do think, you know, what you were saying about some growing pains is definitely possible, but I just think the roster's too talented. They're too versatile on the wing. You know, they can defend at pretty much any position. And as long as they're getting competent center play out of Mitchell Robinson, or if one of the young guys that they, you know, have steps up, or, you know, Taj Gibson inevitably ends up back on the team somehow.
Yeah. Who is it? The Hornets, I think, that signed him at the moment.
I know.
He'll find
his way back.
He'll somehow like be on 2 teams at once if Tom Thibodeau really needs him.
But I agree with you. I think they're going to get closer to 60 than they do to 50 wins.
Yeah, this feels like a mid-50s to upper 50s team. They feel really, really good. I mean, Brunson's obviously an all-NBA guy. Randall's an all-NBA type guy. They got 2 of the best defensive wings in the league. It's a stacked squad. The Bucks at 50.5, they won 49 games last year. This seems weird. I think this is a pretty good line as well. There's a strong part of me that feels like we see a big Dame bounce back, but I just worry about Brook Lopez's age and Chris Middleton. His health is a little bit questionable. I think I'm like, are they going to win 51 games this year?
I think I'm going to take the under here.
Ryan's going with the under.
Yep.
I feel like 50 is like, I think 50 right on the dot feels like where I'm at with them. So I'm going to go under. I think they hit that 50 mark basically like right there.
I was just going to say, I think if one of Dame or Giannis gets injured, I think this team is going to be terrible. I think, you know, there's a lot, you know, resting on the 2 of them. And if, like you said, you're betting on a Dame bounce back, but if that doesn't happen, Giannis can only take a team so far when you have an aging Brook Lopez. Chris Middleton's either hurt, you know, and he had some good moments last year, surprisingly, like especially towards the end of the year, like when Giannis went out. Chris Middleton,
when he showed up in the playoffs, he was pretty good.
Playing some good hoops, man. I haven't seen him play that well in a while. So if they could get that version of him with Giannis on the court, that would be awesome. But hopefully, you know, everyone's healthy for them, and they still have Doc Rivers as their coach too. We can't forget that. So there'll be some blown leads thrown in there. But I agree. I think they're going to be right around the 50 mark. But I do think, you know, after smacking 2 overs, we got to go under eventually. And I think this is one where I could see them, you know, getting a big injury to Dame or Giannis and then kind of floundering for a while.
That's the hard thing is I like now that I think about like, because they did bring Gary Trent. They brought in DeLon Wright, who I think are pretty good additions. They brought in Taurean Prince. Like, I think they had a pretty good offseason. I do just worry about, like, because that depth is still not great. I do think we get a Dame bounce back in some way, but what is the extent of that? And, you know, how do Chris and Brooke look with them getting up their age and Chris especially being really injury prone at this point? So I don't know. I think 50 to 51, I could see a world where they get like 52. This, again, is a really good line. There's a reason Vegas is good at this. I'll lean under for now and might come back to it if we start picking some more unders. But yeah, after 2 overs, I think I'm going to stick with an under.
I think another way you could kind of devil advocate for the over is that Connor and I both agree that there's the bottom of the East is going to be really bad.
It's going to be so rough.
Whereas
like between the top 8.
I feel like last year is a little bit more compact, especially towards the middle. So, you know, a lot of these teams you can see here, like you look from the Knicks all the way down to the Heat. That's like 6 or 7 teams that all were within 4 games of each other. I do think it might be a little bit more spread out this year, especially. And then the bottom teams are going to be a lot worse. Like you look at like the Nets, the Raptors, the Hornets, the Wizards, the Pistons, like their win totals are all super low. And a lot of them were already bad last year. So it'll be, you know, the Bulls are going to be way worse. So I think it'll be interesting. I do think we could see a world where like the top 5 or 6 in the East all win like 50 games. And then like the next, that bottom 5 or 6 all lose, or no, they all win less than 25 games.
Yeah, like the West this past season, Mavericks up all those teams like 5-1 seed all 150 games, and then the Suns 149. I think we could see a world where it's something like that. So I think the Bucks are probably like a 50 to 50 like 3-win team if I had to take a guess. So it's tough. I might switch that to over, but we'll come back. The Cavs, 47.5. They won 48 games this past season. Looks like they're just going to bring everybody back. We thought they might make some big moves when there were all those rumors around the time they got eliminated. Like, oh, could Garland ask out if Donovan Mitchell resigns? And, are they going to trade one of Mobley or Allen? So that hasn't happened. Isaac Okoro is still a free agent. He hasn't officially been re-signed to the team. I imagine he's just going to come back. Yeah, it is weird. They've got Karis LeVert still. They have, I would assume, Isaac Okoro coming back in. They still have Max Strus, Dean Wade. I think a big thing for them is they need that Mobley like offensive breakout. The defense has been sick, but they need him to really blossom if they want to keep up with an Eastern Conference that's getting better and better. Where are you at with this? Because I'm, again, like kind of right there. It feels hard for me to envision because they dealt with so many injuries this past year.
That's what I was going to say, was that they won 48 games, and I swear that they didn't have the starting lineup the same for like back-to-back games the entire year. Like, it felt like
and Garland was bad. Like, Garland was just straight
Garland
bad
was
this
bad.
season.
Allen missed a lot of time. Mobley missed a lot of time. Mitchell was on and off with an injury. So it just felt like they never had, like, it always felt like they had 2 of their top 4 players on the court at one time, and they kind of limped, towards the finish line, and they still won 48 games. I think this is a team that's really built for the regular season. I could see the Cavs like sneakily winning like the 2nd or 3rd seed and then like being a first round exit. Cause I just think they're really built for the regular season with like their roster. So I'm going to take the over just because, they're bringing back the same roster and they had a lot of injuries. So
I'm also going to take the slight over. I just can't imagine Garland being that bad again. I've always been a big believer in Mobley. I'm going to stick with that. It's similar to a lot of these teams where I think it's like right around that spot. Like, I think the Cavs again win like 48 to 50 games. And I think we could have all 4 of these teams as like top 5 seeds. And I think we'll get to another one of those squads in a few teams. But yeah, I could see like, again, like kind of with the Western Conference this year where it's so top heavy and it's like all these squads are winning like 50 to like 46 games. And then you have got like your really, really bad bottom feeders out in both conferences. So yeah, I'll stick with the over as well. The Magic, 47 wins this past season, 47.5 is the over-under. They were in a weird spot because it feels like they were relatively healthy with like their top guys. They did have some injuries like Wendell Carter, for example, and Jonathan Isaac was in and out of the lineup. And it feels like with Paolo getting better and Franz, this is a team that probably should hit the over. I don't know. I feel like we're picking so many over, so it's tough.
I was going to take the under for the Magic. I think kind of what you were saying, they were really healthy last year. And I just think they're not as good as some of these other teams still. I still think I know they signed KCP, but I still think their offense is going to leave a lot to be desired in comparison to a lot of these other teams. So I think they're still going to be good. I still think they're a playoff team, and I think they're going to win in the mid-40s. I just don't think if I like you were saying, like, we have to eventually pick some unders. We can't just over everybody. But I do think that this is a team that's going to hover right around the 45 win mark. So I'm going to go with under.
Yeah, I just worry about that offense. The big thing is they need Franz Wagner to refine his three-point shot. Even in like the Olympics, he just could not buy a 3. I think I'm going to go under. I think they're a better team, but they stick right around this 40. I think 47 wins again feels very possible. Yeah. I could see like 47 or 48. If they do end up winning 50, I'm not surprised if Paolo takes that big jump and we get like a Franz MIP season. But it is kind of hard for me to envision that offense being insane. And again, we do have to pick some unders, so I guess we'll go with that. The Pacers at 47 wins, 47.5 is their over under 47 wins, last season. So they have the Pacers being right about the same. I don't know where I'm at on this one.
I think I was going to pick the under for them too.
Going to pick the under. Yeah. Last year, that got them as the 6th seed in the Eastern Conference, but it was them, the Magic, and the Sixers all tied with 47 wins. So
I'm gonna take the Pacers at the under. I just think that they're bringing back essentially, pretty much the same team, just young players getting better.
They are going to have a full season of Siakam, though.
That is true, but I don't know, man. I just think they don't have like the upper echelon talent. I think some of these, like Halliburton and Siakam, are really good players. I just don't think they're as on the same level as a lot of these other teams and their best players. So, and then not to mention, defensively they were a little suspect last year, even though people say that Miles Turner is the best defender ever. Which some people apparently want to say.
I'm going to go with the over. I'm going to go over just slightly. We have to divulge, I think, at some point. I'm going to go slightly over. I think they're right around that 48 to 49 mark. I just think having Siakam and Halliburton, also because Halliburton sucked for like half the last season.
That is another good point, that he was bad.
Yeah. So I think I'm going to lean slight over for that.
I don't hate that. I do see a world where the Pacers are better than the Magic. So
yeah, this Eastern Conference, like this kind of like collection of East teams, it all feels so even in that spot, which I mean is again how it worked last year with the Magic, Pacers, Sixers, all with 47 wins, Cavs at 48, Bucks at 49, Knicks at 50. Like every team was right there. I think we could see a similar thing out East, which speaking of the Sixers, your team, they have them at 52.5 wins. They won 47 last year. I feel pretty good about the over here. Barring a major injury.
I just think we had Embiid miss so many games, and the team still won 47 games. And, you know, you're adding Paul George, you're losing Tobias Harris, and that's addition by subtraction, if you ask me. And they just had a really good offseason around the edges, too. So I really like the Sixers. I don't think – I kind of have them as a 3 seed. I think there's going to be Celtics, Knicks, Sixers if we were making like a standings thing today. But if I think the Knicks are going to be way over 50 game or 53.5, then the Sixers got to be there too. So I'm rolling with it.
Yeah, I feel pretty good about them winning like as long as Embiid's healthy. You know, Paul George is a bit of a question mark too sometimes with that health, but a team that if they can keep their guys on the court, I think is going to be really, really good. Maxey, another year of development for him. Embiid is an MVP level player. I mean, last year with Embiid and Maxey on the court together, I think they were like 32-7 or something. I think they had the best winning
percentage, you know, with the 2 players on the court.
Is a 32, so that's 0.82 times 82. So 67 game win.
Yeah.
What's the word? Win projection, pace. I guess. Pace. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. They were on pace to win that many games with Embiid and Maxey out there. Obviously, injuries are kind of a feature sometimes when you're dealing with Joel Embiid and Paul George as well. So they're not going to win that many games. But I do think this is a team that could get closer to 60 than 50, kind of like similar to the Knicks. I think the Knicks, Celtics, and Sixers could be like those three pretty clearly at the top of the Eastern Conference. So I feel good about that. The Heat at 44.5 wins. They won 46.
I got a hot take about the Heat.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to take their over.
You're going to take the over. Okay.
I am. They also were injured so much last year.
They were.
And they still always find a way to limp across and do better. You know, they have a couple young guys coming up. I really like, you know, their draft. You know, I think
Chloe Ware was really good
like
in summer league.
Ware. Yep. I really like him. I think Jovic is going to take a little bit of a leap. I like Jaime. You know, they still have Hero and Jimmy. You know, a full season of Terry Rozier. That's another offensive option for him. So I kind of like the Heat. I think they're going to be one of those teams that's going to be like annoying. Like you're like, they shouldn't be this good, but they kind of are. And, you know, they always kind of figure out a way. And there's always going to be a player with them that comes out of nowhere and is really good. So I'm going to take them to win probably like 40. I think 46 again is pretty fair. You know, this being a little bit healthier this year. They did lose, you know, Martin to my Sixers, but you'll find another guy to replace them. So,
yeah, I think I'm going to go slightly over too. I think they once again finished right around that 45-46 mark. That feels like a good spot for them. Jimmy's health is a bit of a question mark at this point in his career. But, I mean, we saw how much more Bam can do in the Olympics. I really hope they just try to use Bam more. He should be shooting a couple of threes a game, at least one, it feels like. Yeah, I'm hopeful for a bit of a Bam leap. And I do think having Rozier for a full season will help them out a little bit. So, yeah, I'm down to go with the over 2. Right now, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 overs to 3 unders. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to 2. Okay, I need to start picking some unders, which we are getting to the teams. The Bulls, 27.5 games. Ryan is not feeling it. Going with the under. I don't know where I'm at, to be honest, with the Bulls. I mean, DeRozan kept them afloat a lot. They were going to have Levine back. Like, Kobe White's pretty good. But, yeah, I don't know. Looking at how stacked
they have no defense, my brother. They have no defense.
They do not. Yeah, if we talk about the Bulls' depth chart, it's Vucevic anchoring the defense, which is not ideal. It's the starting lineup, according to ESPN's depth chart right now, is Giddey, Kobe White, Zach LaVine, Patrick Williams, Vucevic. And off the bench, it's Ayo Dosunmu, Patrick Williams as their backup 3. They've got this all out of whack. Matas, I imagine, will be one of the backup guys. Lonzo is supposed to be back, but we don't know what he's really going to look like. I don't know, man. Yeah, I'm 27.5 just feels so low.
Not to mention they're losing Caruso too, who's one of their best defenders.
They did. I guess we have to go with an under.
He
I guess
doesn't defend. Kobe doesn't defend. Vucevic can't defend anything. Lonzo hasn't played in like a million years. Who knows what he's going to be able to do
we
on
really
defense.
haven't seen Lonzo in so long. I think I will go under here. It just feels like 27 and a half is rough. I would not be surprised if they trade a Levine at some point if he gets a little bit of value back. I do feel like this is a team that's going to try to be towards the bottom of the standings if they can be. So I wouldn't be surprised if also we see some shenanigans tanking at the end of the season, like I think we could see from a number of these squads. So yeah, I'm fine with the under here. And DeRozan did do a lot of heavy lifting last season. I also do think it's going to be really clunky with the guards they have between Giddey and Kobe and Io and Lonzo trying to come back and Zach LaVine. Yeah. A lot of guard play, big play is rough. And I just think it's going to be a lot of growing pains with that team. So yeah,
I'm throwing it out here. I think the Bulls are going to have one of the worst defenses in NBA history.
In NBA history. All right, go ahead. I'll clip that if we start to see that. The Hawks, 35 and a half games. Last year they won 36 games, so right about the same spot for them. Trae Young missed some time towards the end of the season. It's just not a good team.
They're bad. I mean, you could argue that Bogey's their second best player.
Yeah, Jalen Johnson. Jalen Johnson's their second best player.
Yeah.
I think Bogey's that third guy. Yeah, but I mean, regardless, like Clint Capella's not very good anymore. He missed so many layups last season.
Kongwu's okay, but he's not like they can't switch him in, and they're going to be a much better team. I don't think.
Yeah, he hasn't become the big that was hoping for by this point. Trae's great. Trae is going to turn them into a pretty solid offense, regardless. I would imagine. I'm excited to see what Dyson Daniels does. I hope they start him in that backcourt next to Trae and have Bogey come off the bench because I think Dyson, this is a chance to try and develop that defensive guard. I think with, Dyson out there and Risache, depending on how he looks in year one, and Jalen Johnson, like they could be a decent defense, like better than usual. But this is a team, I don't know. I feel like 35 wins is about pretty accurate for this team. So I think I'm going to take another under here.
Yeah. I think I'm going to take the under as well.
Okay. The Nets, 19 and a half, easily the lowest out of any of these teams. This team is really, really bad.
I'm taking over, though. I'm just telling you that right now.
I am taking the under. I have to take an under. I took an over when you took one earlier. I think this team wins like 15 games. They are going for Cooper Flag hard. They traded for their pick for a reason. Listen to this starting lineup. Dennis Schroeder, Cam Thomas, Cam Johnson, Dorian Finney-Smith, Nick Claxton. That team is awful. And also, I expect them to trade Cam Johnson and Dorian Finney-Smith at some point, too. I think those guys will be gone. The bench right now is Ben Simmons, who we don't know how much he's going to play. Bojan, who's back in Brooklyn now because of the Mikal Bridges trade. Jalen Wilson, Noah Clowney, Day'Ron Sharpe. This team is bad. And I'm excited about Noah Clowney. I think he could be a fun player this season. He continues to he impressed me towards the end of last year. Day'Ron Sharpe is kind of fun. Like Jalen Wilson had some interesting summer league games and stuff. But like their number one option right now is what, Cam Thomas? I like Cam as like a bucket getter if you're having him off the bench. Game. I don't know. I think we see a Jordan Poole thing where people are like, oh, he's going to put up all these points, and then it's just an inefficient, like really rough season. I think this Nets team loses a lot of games. I think they win like 15-17 maybe.
I'm taking the over simply because they have a couple guys that can get buckets. It's going to remind me a little bit of when we both thought the Jazz were going to be complete dog water. And then they kind of came out of nowhere and we're like, I don't think the Nets are going to be in the playoff mix like the Jazz were. And then they kind of like, they fizzled out a little bit. Mm-hmm. But I do think the Nets have, some quality NBA guys and guys that can give buckets. And as a big hater of this man, I think Ben Simmons is going to come back and have an okay year. I'm just going to throw that out there. I think he is.
I fell for it last year. I made a whole Ben Simmons is going to be back this year video, and I can't fall for it again. I can't do it.
And I do like some of their defensive options. Dorian Finney-Smith's a good wing defender. Claxton's good down low. I do think that, and I think Schroeder's one of those guys. He's not going to be a good player on a good team, but I don't know. He could be a good tank commander. So I don't know, man. I think
they're going to tank all right.
I think they're going to win 22 to 23 games.
I think they go
win a little bit more.
I think they go all out and win. They go like 15-67.
No, I'm not saying the Nets are going to be good. I just think they're going to be slightly better than 19.
I think they're going for broke. Raptors, 30.5. They won 25 games this past season. They of course have RJ Barrett now for a full season. Emmanuel Quickley for a full season. which both of them were pretty good after the deadline. Not that the team won a ton, but it's interesting. They've got Emmanuel Quickly, Grady Dick, who also kind of got a lot better at the end of the season. RJ Barrett, Scotty Barnes, Jakob Pertl. They've got Kelly Olynyk now off the bench. Ochai Agbaji. They still have Bruce Brown. Davion Mitchell is now in town. The depth is pretty rough. Once you get past like Bruce Brown and Kelly Olynyk, it's bad. I don't know. I don't know if they're going to win 30.5. I've seen some people say the big question in the Eastern Conference is who are the 9 and 10 seeds going to be? Because I've seen a lot of people say a bunch of different teams, I've seen some people say the Raptors. I've seen a recent push that the Hornets, in some people's eyes, could be one of those squads. The Hawks, of course, I think will be in kind of the mix.
I have Hawks Raptors.
Hawks Raptors. So are you taking the over, I'm guessing, for the Raptors?
I'm not. They could be the 9 seed and still go under, I think.
There's no way 30 wins gets you the 10 seed. There's no way.
But I'm trying to think of these other teams. Like, do I think the Wizards, I don't think make a jump. Do the Pistons make a jump?
I mean, for me, the Pistons, I'm not sure if I'm going to go over quite yet because 25.5, like jumping 12 wins is quite a big number of wins. But like they have to be much better. There's no way they suck like that again. They've got Tobias Harris now. They're back.
Mm-hmm.
They brought him home. I think for the Raptors, I'm going to go. Well, here's the thing also. Like they really tried to tank towards the end of the season. They were bad towards the end of the season. If RJ has a pretty good season, I think I could see a world where they win like 31 games. I don't think that's
I'm gonna take the over for the Raptors. I think they're gonna be in that mix for that 9-10. And if you really think that 30 doesn't do it, then I'll take the over.
Okay, I'm going to go over 2. I think I just picked 3 unders in a row. I have to pick over for someone. I'm going to go over as well. I think they get right around 31. I'm a believer in Emmanuel Quickly. I think there's a world where he's in MIP talks or even RJ Barrett, who was really good to end the season as a Raptor. So, yeah, I'll go with that.
They could get some big man play. I would really like their team. I don't really like Jakob and Kelly as the big men. If they could get some more, if they could get a big, I actually don't really – I kind of mess with their squad a little bit. I don't hate it.
Yeah. The tough thing is, too, it depends where everybody's at towards the end of the season because I think there is a world where the Raptors are not like one of those playing teams and they really try to bottom out at the end of the year. And this all gets thrown out the window. But we'll see. The Hornets, 29.5, kind of interesting team to kind of take a look at as one of maybe those sneaky squads that could make one of those last playing spots. Of course, they have LaMelo Ball, year 2, Brandon Miller. They've got Josh Green now, who's in town.
Grant Williams is still there.
Grant Williams is still there. Miles Bridges, Mark Williams, Vasilij Micic, Trey Mann is there. They drafted Tijan Salon. They've got Taj Gibson, aforementioned. Shout out to the GOAT. Nick Richards. Like, it's not a bad team. Really, the thing for me is LaMelo Ball going to be able to stay on the court? Because that's been so hard to see consistently over the past few years. Like, he played 22 games last season, 36 the year before, 75 the year prior to that, but then his rookie season, he played 51. He's missed 30 or more games in 3 out of his 4 seasons.
Seems to run in the family.
Yeah, like I guess maybe it was the BBB shoes that they were wearing when they started off. So I don't know, man. I feel like 21, if LaMelo can be on the court for at least like 50 games, this feels doable. It feels doable they can win 30. I'm also a big believer that Brandon Miller could have a really good second season. I don't know. They're a team that I could see either like going way under this because LaMelo just does not play, or I could see them being like a sneaky like 35 win team because LaMelo's out there and they grab like that 10 seed.
I'm going to take the over.
I think I'm going to go with that as well. I think 29. I think the Hornets can win 30 games. I'm a big believer in Brandon Miller. After this past season, I'm going to put my money where my mouth is and say,
I think their team's still kind of trash, but I didn't realize LaMelo only played that amount of games and they still won 21 games. So
yeah, it was like abysmal. I mean, maybe we should predict under because he was, but in the games he played, he was so good. He put up 24, 5, and 8 with almost 2 steals. Like, he was so good. The Wizards, 21.5. They won 15 this past season. Where are we going with that?
I'm going the under. I think they got worse.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with the under too. They don't have Tyus Jones anymore. I think Bilal could have a pretty solid second season, but they traded away Denny as well.
Denny was like arguably their second best player the entire year.
They did bring in Jonas Valanciunas. They have Malcolm Brogdon now. But yeah, I think this is a team that. But like, listen to like their benches: Bud Carrington, Corey Kispert, Bilal Coulibaly. They have Bilal coming off the bench right now, which would suck. Patrick Baldwin Jr. and Rashawn Holmes, it's pretty rough. Also, I saw a report somewhere that they could look to trade Jonas Valanciunas pretty early on in the season to just try and get a return for him. I think I'm going to go under. This feels like a prime candidate where the Wizards could win like 15 games like towards the end of the season, and then they try to lose like 20 in a row at the end of the season. So I'm also down for an under on this one. The Pistons, 14 wins this past year, 25.5 is the projection. They brought in Tobias Harris, of course. They have Cade Cunningham.
How many games did he play last year?
This past season, he played a good number of games. He was playing exactly 62. So missed 20 games. Not bad. Wouldn't have qualified for awards at the end of the season. But they've got Cade Cunningham. They brought in Malik Beasley as well. They have another of Simone Fontecchio, who is a pretty decent shooter. They have Tim Hardaway Jr. now, who was not very good for the Mavericks this past year. But I mean,
selling me on the team.
I'm not doing the best job of selling you. But I know you have Jaden Ivey, Asar Thompson, Jalen Duren development. Like, I don't know. This feels like a team. If they don't win at least 26 games this upcoming season, like we need to have some serious conversations about if they will ever return.
I'm going to go. Oh, they have a new coach too.
They do have a new coach. Monty Williams is gone.
I'm going under. I think they win more than 14, but I don't think they win 26. I think they win like 22 games.
So what do I have? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 overs. And I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 5. Oh, man, I don't know. Like, I want to say over, but I just don't know how many teams I could say. Because I think, like, how many teams can I pick under, you know?
I mean, you think
or pick over?
Yeah, I don't know, man.
I just don't know. Because the Wizards, I think, are going to be awful. I think the Hornets are going to be better.
And you said the Nets are going to be awful.
That's true.
Do I think the Bulls are going to suck?
Do I buy into the overhype, man, for the Pistons? Bro, I don't know if I can. I have to go over. I have to believe at some point they. I think they're
only get 22 games. That's still 8 games better. That's a good improvement.
That is an improvement. That's true. I have to believe they get better in some significant way. I have to believe. I'm going to go over for them. Tobias Harris is at least a competent NBA player. That's a big change. Fontecchio gives them some shooting. They actually have. I guess you would know better than me. Tim Hardaway Jr. gives them a shooter. I guess
they have.
I don't know, man. They have bodies. Whatever. Let's just screw it. Let's go.
On to the West.
All right, we're on to the West. The Thunder. 57 wins this past season. 56.5 is the over/under. I'm gonna, being the Thunder fan, I'm gonna say over. I think this is a team that could definitely win 60 games. We were pretty healthy this past season, which is something, we're going to have to maintain. But even if they deal with injuries, like Hartenstein is such a massive improvement for this team. Caruso's big. Like the defense is going to be easily top 3. I think there's a world where they're the best defense. They have an MVP level player in Shea. I think 60 is very within the realm of possibility. So I'm going to go over.
I'll take over too. I think they might. I could see them because, like you said, the team was really, really healthy last year. I could see them getting a couple injuries and maybe winning 53 to 55 games. So I was thinking about picking the under just to be a hater, but I'll just be nice and pick the over. But I could see a world where they win mid-50s. But I think anywhere, like if their over under was set at like 53 or 54, I think that would be a smash over. But
yeah, 56.5 is tough. Like that's a really high over to hit. But I think they've got the talent to go ahead and do so. If they finished with like 56 wins, wouldn't surprise me at all because, again, 57 is extremely impressive. But I just think with all the youth developing and the pieces that we added really shore up some of our biggest weaknesses. Plus, Giddey was just kind of a negative in the starting lineup as well. Like I think we just addition by subtraction a little bit there as well. So, yeah. All right, the Nuggets, 51.5. They won 57 this past season. I know neither one of us liked their offseason. I see Ryan putting the thumbs down. I know he last year he was a hater on the depth, and it did show in the playoffs. Ryan was kind of vindicated there. So are you again going under?
I mean, you lose KCP. Did they sign anybody?
Russell Westbrook.
Under.
Legend.
Under. Yeah, under.
Okay, chill out. Yeah, they brought in Dario Saric as well. Sixers legend. But yeah, the bench right now is, according to this, again, ESPN depth chart. So this isn't exactly how the rotation is probably going to look. Off the bench, they have Russell Westbrook, Julian Strother, Hunter Tyson, Peyton Watson, Dario Saric.
Good God, smash them
with Christian Brown in the starting lineup.
Terrible.
Yeah, I don't know. I think
Jamal Murray didn't look good in the Olympics either.
He did not, bro. That's the scary part. Jamal Murray just cannot, like, if he continues to play bad, they are screwed. They're
Michael Porter Jr. has been really inconsistent. They're going to miss KCP.
I do think
really getting older.
Getting older. He's getting really old. How old is it? No, he's like 28.
No, he's not. He's in the league way too long.
He's 28. He's exactly 28.
Yeah, that's where he seems like he's been in the league forever.
Yeah. Okay, he turns 29 in like a month.
All right, so he's closer. He's 30 basically.
Once you're 29, you're basically 30, and then you're basically 32.
I would argue he could be their second best player if Jamal Murray doesn't remember to play basketball.
It's weird. He's like kind of joins the Andrew Wiggins and Devin Booker club of, I swear, like, it feels like they've been in the league for like 12 years.
Oh yeah.
I think with Jokic, I don't think I can go with the under. But I mean 57. I do think the depth is going to hurt them.
It's 51.5. 57 was last year.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm trying to compare, like, how many wins do I think they're going to drop? Like 57, 51.5. I think they finished with, like, I'm going to go over. I think they finished with like 53 or so.
I can see it.
You going under?
Yeah, I'm under.
Okay. Wait, did I mix those up? I mixed.
Yeah, I'm first.
Yeah. I remember that. And did I do it wrong for the Pistons? No, I did it right for the
Pistons. You're good. That was the first one you messed up.
Okay, cool. Yeah, all right.
505 wins for the Mavericks.
Let's go ahead and fix that.
I'm going to make one observation real quick for the West.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if this is just my math not mathing, but other than the Grizzlies, I guess the Spurs too. I swear a lot of you have the Trailblazers winning no games.
Yeah, the Trailblazers. What was their over under? Hold on. Let me see let me go ahead.
I feel like a lot of these teams are losing wins.
Yeah, it's 21.5 was their over under. I meant to highlight the cells green. I was going to highlight them because now I got rid of the Trailblazers. I'm not working well with Google Docs. I was going to try and highlight all the cells green so that I could go ahead and what the hell is that? What did I even do?
I think you just need to let it be.
I might need to, bro. For anyone who's listening on audio, Google Docs is beating me up right now, bro. What is happening?
You look like France against Steph Curry right now.
Okay, that's not it. That's definitely not it. Don't ever do that again.
You need a paint thing to fill.
Whatever, bro. It doesn't matter. Ryan's on the left. I just wanted to carry it over so people could tell who was who.
You can hear it. There you go. Put a thing below I'm pointing to the screen like you can see it. Go under Trailblazers and put my name and your name.
What the hell did I do? Bro, I'm falling apart. All right, insert row below. There we go. Okay, Ryan. There you go. Okay, that'll work. Technical difficulties fixed. Timberwolves, 156 games this past year. 52.5 is their win total. They brought in Rob Dillingham in the draft. They went ahead and also, who was the other guy that they added? They added somebody. Joe Ingles is now in town. They lost Kyle Anderson. They added Terrence Shannon in the draft as well. So team's relatively similar. Not a ton has changed for this squad. But yeah, what do you have, Matt?
I'm going to take the over.
I want to take the over too. I've just been picking so many overs, but I don't think this is a team where I can go with there are a few teams coming up that I think I have the under on. So yeah, I'm going to go with the over as well for the Timberwolves. I think 52.5 is very gettable for them. I think Ant's going to have an awesome year. Mike Conley's getting older, which could be a bit of a problem, but I don't know. There's not a lot. Plus Cat missed a bunch of time too, and they still held up. Like, I think they'll be fine. So I'm not really worried about them dropping off that much. So yeah, let's stick with it. All right, the Clippers, 40.5. They won 51 last year. Of course, lost Paul George. Very different team coming into the season with James Harden, Terrence Mann, Derrick Jones Jr., Kawhi, and Zubats as their starting lineup off the bench. It's Chris Dunn, Norman Powell, Amir Coffey, Nick Batum, and Mo Bamba. They brought in Kevin Porter Jr. They still have Bones Highland. PJ Tucker is still in town, I guess. They've got Kai Jones. Weird team, weird hodgepodge kind of a squad. Where do you have them at?
I'm almost tempted to take the over.
I think I'm taking the over, but I think barely. I think
I
this
think
is
so,
like
like I don't think they're going to win 50 games, but I think they're going to be a 500 team. So,
I think they're right around 500. With Kawhi and Harden, I'm not going to bet against them
and they have
being
some solid role players still, I think.
Yeah, I think they got vastly worse. I don't know if this is a playoff team. I think this is like a play-in team.
Yeah, I agree.
But I think 42, 43 wins is very attainable unless they do deal with major injuries. Like when you have
Actually,
Kawhi and
I'm
Harden.
changing my mind. I'm going under.
All right, well, we just talked all about this Clippers love, and now you hate them.
Well, because I'm looking at the board and I see a lot of overs I want to take, so I got to pick the under somewhere. So
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, I've got a lot of overs. I might have to go back and change some stuff, but I think I have some unders coming up.
but I agree with you. I think they're going to be around a 500 team. So I just, in my mind, I don't trust Kawhi to stay healthy, and I think Harden with the Goon Squad is going to be terrible. So
yeah, that's fair. It's if Kawhi goes down for any significant period of time, the team is completely cooked. So I see what you're saying. Mavericks won 50.5 this past year. 50 wins is the or 150 wins, 50.5 is the low. I can't speak. Ryan's giving the over. He's doing the thumbs up in case you can't see him, but
I think 50 is embarrassing. That's a smash, in my opinion.
I don't think it's that crazy.
But they weren't even good in the regular season until the end. Like they were hovering around the play.
That is true. They dealt with a Kyrie injury. It's just also with the West, it's really tough. Like I think we could see like maybe the Thunder don't reach their total, like maybe the Wolves don't. I think there is a world where every team scales back a little bit because the West does feel like it got better in some regards. But I do think once again over. I'm picking so many overs, but the thing is for me, it's like barely. It's by like one win on all of these.
So many overs for Connor.
Bro, it's bad. I need to pick some unders. I have some coming up, so it's fine. Suns 47.5. They won 49 games this past season. What are you thinking?
I'm going over. I think Katie and Devin Booker just got their gold medals. You know, I think they had some good pickups in the offseason. You know, I really like Tyus Jones. I think finally having a real point guard is going to be really helpful because I think their fourth quarter woes, I think, were really associated with just not having a defined ball handler, even though, you know, it's not like that Devin Booker, KD, or Bradley Beal can't play with the ball in their hands, but I just think having that defined role of a point guard is going to do so much help for them. It's going to really escalate or elevate their game. So I think the Suns are going to be a sneaky team this year. I think they're going to be a lot better.
I'm going to take the under. This is the team I'm taking the under for. No, I mean, it makes sense what you were saying. My worry is if you want to talk about bad defenses, this team sucks defensively. That's my worry.
They need to find a way to upgrade Nurkic.
Because they said Tyus Jones said in like the press release that he is supposed to be the starting point guard. A lineup out there of Tyus Jones, Devin Booker, or Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, Yusuf Nurkic is defending pretty much nothing. Booker has reached a point where he's a pretty solid defender. He's a good defender, I would even say. Kevin Durant was pretty solid defensively this past season too, but he's like, 36, 37 years old. Nurkic is not a good defensive big. Tyus Jones is one of the worst defenders in the NBA. Bradley Beal is not stopping anybody. And even off the bench, Mason Plumlee is not a great defensive big. Royce O'Neal isn't this big-time stopper. I don't see many. Monte Morris is definitely not a defensive stopper coming off the bench. I think this team's defense is going to be horrific, and that's a big worry. I think he can definitely elevate the offense, but I don't know if the offense is going to be elevated enough for them to be a 49-50 win team. I think there's a world where they finish at they could finish with those wins. I do think there's a world where Tyus Jones just works perfectly and it looks great. But then this is also a team where, again, the injuries scare me a ton with this squad with Booker and Beal and Kevin Durant. So I'm going to go under. I don't think it's by a lot. I think it's probably like a 46, 45-ish win team, maybe even 47. I do think they could go over for sure.
I was going to say, similar to what I kind of said about the Cavs, I think the Suns team is going to be a team that does really well in the regular season just because they have the bucket getters. But then when it comes down to the postseason, I agree with you where I think their defense is going to hold up. So I think
they have to make a trade.
Merchants.
They have to upgrade Yusuf Nurkic is my big thing.
Valanciunas from the Wizards question. Is that even an upgrade?
I mean, I don't think so.
I have a little question for you just because we're talking about washed centers that play no defense. If you're the Suns and you could pick between having Nurkic, Capella, and Valanciunas as your starting center, who are you taking? In what order?
Oh, good Lord. In what order? I don't even know. I don't think I want any. I think Nurkic might still be my favorite because at least there's the passing there.
Yeah.
That's kind of interesting. I think maybe him, then Valanciunas, then Capella. I mean, I guess Capella's like the best out of them defensively, but the amount of times I watched Hawks games last year and Capella's bricking layups, I like lost my mind. I couldn't do it. Like he is very washed at this point. But I guess like the big thing they need is defense. So maybe he's the guy to go with. I don't know. I hate all my options. I decided to resign as GM. Is my pick.
All right, let's go on to the Lake Show.
Yeah, Lakers 43.5. They won 47 this past season. They were a team that Ryan's liking the over. I can see they did nothing this offseason. Nothing's happened. Now, I do have a thought that a Jeremy Grant trade, I think it's very possible before the season. It just makes sense if you ask me. And I would like that trade a lot. As it currently stands, I'm again going to go with an over, but it's going to be once again like a barely over. Like I think this is a 45 win team, maybe.
I'm going over too. I think I'm making this assumption that they make a move.
Yeah, that's kind of my thing too. I think they have to do something, whether it's now or around the deadline, like they've tried to do, the past or specifically last season. They thought about it this past season, nothing really happened. At some point, they're going to make a move, if you ask me. And with LeBron and AD, now they were both pretty healthy this past season, which is kind of scary that they won 47 and they both played a ton of games. So if they deal with an injury, that could be a problem, but I don't know. Pelicans, 49 wins this past season, 45.5 wins. I'm going to go here. I'm going to say under.
I'm taking over.
I think the lack of a big is going to be horrific for them.
Yeah.
Again, I don't think it's a big time under by any means, but I just don't see a world where right now they're big. Like Zion's, of course, a world destroyer. Ingram is great, but right now Yves Missi and Daniel Tice are their centers. That's really bad.
They're not. They won't open the season like that. They're going to get up center. I feel like.
I don't know if they do. Like Dave, I guess maybe this is just GM talk, but David Griffin was saying at Summer League, I think he was being interviewed. And he was like, "We like our big man rotation right now." It's like, you do? Like, I don't think Yves Missi is going to be bad as a rookie. Daniel Tice is fine, but I thought they needed an upgrade from Jonas Valanciunas, and they got worse at that spot. They do have still CJ McCollum, Brandon Ingram, Zion, DeJounte. I don't know how I feel about DeJounte.
Herb Jones. I just think they have too much. I really like their roster personally.
It is just the big man thing. I feel like I have to pick an under at some point. This might be one I come back to. I also
my unders are coming up. I see 2 or 3 I'm going to pick.
Ingram did miss some time as well. We'll see. Kings 46.5. They won 46 games this past season. Over under.
I'm going to go over.
Over. You're digging the DeMar trade.
I do like it. I saw how much he carried the Bulls, and I just think having another player, because I know Fox is a super clutch player, but then having 2 players you can go to, I feel like opens up a lot of opportunities. Because I feel like Fox was always their go-to player in the clutch. Like literally, he was going to have the ball no matter what. And now that you have another guy, and that is going to help, Sabonis even more. Because people are going to go help out, and DeRozan's smart with the ball. So I don't know, man. I think their defense is going to be kind of trash, but offensively, I really, really like what they have going on. Personally, I feel like they have 3 levels of scoring between. They have like the run and gun guy. They have like DeRozan, who kind of plays like that slow, methodical mid-range kind of game, and then they got the bruiser down low. I just like their offense.
Yeah, the offense is great.
Is also an empty player. I feel like.
Yeah, the defense is the main thing I'm worried about. It's bad. It's bad. It's really bad. Also, the depth is rough. Right now, it's Devin Carter off the bench who they just drafted, but he had a surgery.
He's not going to play a lot. I
believe he's supposed to miss part of the beginning of the season. They have that listed, but I think Keon Ellis is going to be that backup guard anyways. Malik Monk coming off the bench, of course, that's a huge plus. But then it's like
they still have Herter.
They do still have Herter, but he's in the starting lineup. But just in the depth, like Trey Lyles is coming off the bench, Alex Len, like Jalen McDaniels is on this team now, Colby Jones, like they've got Orlando Robinson.
Their bench is pretty rough.
It gets like Malik Monk's amazing, but it gets pretty bad pretty quick. I worry a lot about this defense. I'm kind of on the fence. I think there's a world where they win like right about 46 games again this upcoming year, even though they could be a much scarier team. I don't know how much it's going to translate to the win total. I've been taking, how many overs do I have at this point? I've got so many overs. And I guess there's a couple of teams I think I'm going to pick unders on coming up here. So I'll go with an over again for the Kings. I think like 47 is in the realm of possibility. But do I think the Kings are going to be better than the Pelicans? Do I believe that?
I don't know, do you?
I don't know if I do. To me, they feel kind of similar. Do I really think the Kings are better than the Pelicans? Now I want to go back and move. We'll move on from now. Maybe I'll go back and move the Pelicans because now that I look at this, I feel weird. The Warriors at 43.5, they won 46 games this past season. I am slamming the under.
Oh, me too, 100%.
I do not believe in this Warriors team.
I love Steph Curry, man. We were just, glazing him with, how well he did in the Olympics, but man.
The team is not good. It is Steph Curry, Pods, Wiggins, Draymond, Trace Jackson Davis. Off the bench, it's Melton, Buddy Hield, Kyle Anderson, Kuminga. Like, this team, I do think made some good moves, but like I do think losing Clay is who is this team's second option right now?
Pods.
Is it is it year 2 Pods? And I believe in Pods long term, but I don't. He's not going to be.
It's Kuminga, but
I guess so. But like, is Kuminga going to start? Is he going to come off the bench? Because you can't play Draymond at the 5.
I feel like.
I think so, but then the spacing gets bad, and Wiggins was bad last year. Is he going to be back? I don't know, man. I don't.
Wiggins is off the bench.
Maybe.
I think they're going to start a lineup of Steph, Pods, Kuminga, Draymond, and like Davis.
It's just like, man, that lineup, it just doesn't hold up.
I mean, and they still got that. Who they pick up? They had picked up Melton.
They picked up Melton, who was really hurt last season. Well, hopefully he's healthy this year. Buddy Hield, Kyle Anderson. Like, I don't even hate their pickups necessarily. I just don't think they've got
their second best player is just a big.
Their second best player is
cloud of question marks.
It's Draymond, who isn't much of an offensive force anymore. And then it's like, will Wiggins show up this season? We don't know. Then it's like, what does Pods do? What does Kuminga do? There's just way too many unknowns for me to give them 44 wins in this stacked Western Conference. I don't see it. I think this is a team that is a playing squad at best. If they miss the play-in, I wouldn't be surprised.
I think this team trades for Zach LaVine.
I think they make some type of panic move throughout the season. I think Steph Curry puts a lot of pressure on them, and they have to do something. But yeah.
I think Kuminga or Moody become Bulls, and Wiggins. I'm just throwing that out there. I think
if they do that trade for Zach LaVine, good Lord, pray for Steph Curry, man.
So what's going to happen is LaVine is going to come out there, and the Bulls are going to be terrible, but LaVine's going to be putting up crazy numbers, and then these teams that didn't make any good offseason moves are going to be like, well, he's putting up 30 points a game, and the Bulls are like, oh, his value is really low. Now it's creeping back up, so we're just going to strike a deal.
I do think LaVine is posed as like that. He's poised to be that panic guy.
I agree.
At some point throughout the season, because his contract is going to have another year off the books now. Like, we're going into this upcoming season where it's just this year and then 2 more seasons, which 43, 45, and 48 mil for Zach LaVine is a lot. Assuming he takes that player option, I would be shocked if he didn't. But I feel like a 3-year deal is easier to stomach than a 4-year deal. And plus, if you trade from midseason, it's like only 2 more years, theoretically. So I feel like at some point he does get traded, and it's a panic move from somebody. I could see it being the Warriors. I could see it being the Lakers.
And if you're a team like the Warriors or the Lakers, like, you might only have 3 more years in your window anyways, with LeBron and Steph Curry not getting any younger. So you never know when your window is going to close. So if, like you were saying, if they're like, oh, well, 3 more years is all we're going to have with Steph or LeBron anyways, might as well give them a guy to go with. And then when they're gone, he's gone. So,
yeah. Yeah, this is what I've been eyeing is like a clear. I feel good about the under.
I have another one I can't wait to smash.
The Rockets 43.5. I think I'm also going to go with the under here. I think they're right around.
What do they do to get better other than young guys can?
It's just kind of like another year of development from them. Like, the team didn't really change that much. I don't know if they made any acquisitions. Now I think about it. I guess they drafted Reed Shepherd, but free agency acquisitions. Like, they did have Steven Adams last year at the deadline, who I'm excited to see what he does as a backup big there. More development from their young guys. My main thing is I just don't think we see the Jalen Green from the end of last season this whole year.
Yeah, that was what I was going to say. Is one of their young players going to step up and be the guy?
Yeah, that's my main thing is they really don't like Şengün's good, but I don't think he's quite all-star caliber yet. He's like right there in the fringe. And for me to win 44 games in this stacked Western Conference, I think you need somebody who's like that bona fide all-star. Maybe Şengün does become that this season. Maybe Jalen Green does carry over some of the end of last year play, but I think it's going to be a little bit up and down to start the year. I do still think there are going to be some growing pains with this team. I wouldn't be surprised at all if they're a playing team, though. I think there is definitely a world where they're a playing squad. Like, I think this might be a better team than the Golden State Warriors in the end, just with the overall depth being a lot better than the Warriors, in my opinion. Of course, they've got Steph Curry, so maybe that top end talent pushes them over the top. But yeah, the Rockets also, like, they went on what was the win streak at the end of the season too? So this 41 wins almost feels a bit misleading because they just got unbelievably hot at the end of the year, which you can argue is a dumb argument if you want to. But I got to go under in some teams. I think they go under. It's once again, in my opinion, like right around a 500 season, which is nothing to be upset about in this Western Conference. I just think my take about the Rockets is they don't have their guy yet.
I agree. 100% agree. I think they have a bunch of B-level guys, but they don't have the A.
If there is a guy on this team, in my opinion, it's Amin Thompson, and I need to see proof of the three-point shot before I'm like, he is the guy for them. Maybe it comes along this season, but I like Şengün. I like Jalen Green. I just don't think any of them are going to be like that 1A if you're trying to win a title. I agree. Don't think so. Turkey. Anytime I say that in a video, the Turkish fans are not happy whenever I mention that with Alperen Şengün.
The whole nation of Turkey cannot stand.
Which I really like Alperen Şengün's game too. It's just, it's rare that to be a like 1A on a championship team, you have to be like a superstar caliber player.
Is he going to be good to start the year after his bad injury to end the last
I believe, because it didn't end up being anything, like it wasn't an ACL. So I think he's good to go. The Jazz, 27.5 wins. They won 31 this past season.
I'm going to take the under. I think it's Laurie and a bunch of I don't want to call them scrubs because they're NBA players, but it's just Laurie versus the world, I feel like. And I just don't think they're going to be very good.
I'm going to take the under too. A lot of youth. I think they're really going to lean into that, which is good. That's what they should do. Like it's Keontae, it's Sexton, it's Markkanen, it's Hendricks, it's John Collins, it's Walker Kessler, Cody Williams, Jordan Clarkson, who's still in this team somehow. I think he gets dealt.
I think he gets dealt. There's no way he survives another year there.
Yeah, Isaiah Collier. Like it's a fun team. It's going to be a really fun young squad. But yeah, this is also feels like a prime team to just completely bottom out at the end of the year for Cooper Flagg. Like I think they'll be a team like they could have like 25 wins and then win like one game over their last 10 or something like that. So I'm going to go under with them as well. The Grizzlies, 47.5. This Ryan, is this
that is the biggest smash of all time?
I'm actually surprised. So to go ahead and set the scene, the Grizzlies are going to be back with all their guys. Last time we saw them, they were the 2 seed, I believe, in the Western Conference. They have John Morant, Marcus Smart, Desmond Bane, Jaren Jackson. They've got Zach Edey, Gigi Jackson, Vince Williams, Brandon Clark is going to be back.
Big man.
Yeah, I mean, hey, don't hate on Zakeem Olajuwon. Don't hate
Zakeem Olajuwon.
Shaquille O'Neal. Don't hate him.
Pelicans' big man situation was bad.
But yeah, so you're not really feeling this Grizzlies squad at the moment.
I just think because people are going to make the excuse, but the West has just gotten so much better. Like think about the Thunder were not a factor the last time the Grizzlies were good. The Wolves were not a factor. The Mavericks weren't near as good. Wemby was still a child. The Suns didn't have Kevin Durant. I mean, I just feel like this conference has gotten so much better and just adding Ja back, and they don't have a true center. Like Jaren Jackson Jr. at the center does not work. We saw that a lot last year. I just don't think they're going to – I think they'll win 40 games. I think they'll be in that play-in hunt. But to think 47.5 puts them at like the 4 or 5 seed. I don't think there's any shot.
Wow. Okay. I'm tempted to go in over here. I think I might go under.
That's crazy, bro. That is crazy.
I think I might go under. This feels like another barely situation just because with John Morant coming back after not having really played a season, I think there's going to be a little bit of rust there. I don't know how I feel about Zach Edey as like the starting big for this team. And I also do think it's a little weird that starting trio of John Morant, Desmond Bane, and Marcus Smart. That feels a little bit weird. I don't know how I feel about Marcus Smart as like a 3. So yeah, I do think the Grizzlies are back and are again a really scary squad. But I do think around 47, 48 wins feels pretty realistic for them. So I'm going to go under. I have to get more unders in here, but I might change my mind on this before the season. Spurs at 36.5 wins. This is another team I'm going with on an under. I don't think they win 37 games. This past season, they won 22. They're not jumping 15 wins. Wemby's going to be better. I think Chris Paul helps. They did add Harrison Barnes, but I just don't see them jumping that much. Like the team as a whole isn't that good when you take a look at it. Bro is insane. Okay.
Why not, man?
I think this is the first time where I've taken an under and you've taken an over. I think usually it's you taking the
4 unders in a row, bro. I think I saw Wemby crying his eyes out when Team USA ripped that medal from him. I think he's coming out with a vengeance. It's the first time he's ever had a point guard. Harrison Barnes is like the first, kind of what you were talking about with Tobias Harris on the Pistons. When's the last time the Spurs had a quality NBA player?
I think they've had like Devin Vassell.
No, but I mean like a vet. Like,
Oh yeah, quality.
when is the last time they had a player that was like a former All-Star or like a serviceable starter on their team that wasn't like a young player? I can't.
Yeah, that's true. I do think you're right. I do think CP3 and Harrison Barnes make a big difference. If they push for a play-in spot or they're right there in that race, it wouldn't surprise me like a ton. I do think there's a world where Wemby goes out there and he establishes himself firm as a top 10 player this year. I just think, to me, the offense is still a little bit away for him. I think he's going to be a lot more efficient this year with playing next to Chris Paul, but I don't think he's going to be like this game breaker on the offensive end quite yet. I think there's still some growing to be done there. Defensively, he might win DPOY again, or not again, but he's going to be up there in the race again. This might be the start of like 8 straight DPOYs for Wemby. Like, it feels like it could genuinely be something like that. But 37 feels high when we have all these teams like the Pelicans and the Kings and like the Rockets. I feel like they're going to win around like that 40 to like mid 40s to even high 40s for some of those teams' games. And with the Mavericks and the Timberwolves and the Thunder, like all those squads winning a lot, I just think some team has to go under. And for me, the Spurs I feel pretty good. They'll be around like maybe like a 32 to 30 win team. I don't think Chris Paul and Harrison Barnes, I guess year 2 Wemby could, again, that is the key. If he explodes onto the scene, destroys everything, I actually might drop a video tomorrow about how I do think the Spurs are going to be way better this year, but I don't think it translates
I'm going to comment the screenshot of you picking their under win total and say this guy's just doing it for views.
I just don't think it translates into a 37-38 win season. That to me feels a little bit far.
I get it.
And then the Blazers, 21.5 is their total. They won 21 games last year. They were very injured. Simons was out for a lot of the year. Shane Sharp is out for a lot of the year. Wasn't a great year for Scoot.
No,
Robert Williams missed basically the entire year. And they did have Denny. They did add Denny Avdia as well. A lot of Donovan Klingon's in town now. Like a lot of things I feel like point to them being better this season.
I think they're still going to be trash, but I think I'm going to take the over. I think they'll win like 23, 24 games.
That's my thing. I think it's like a 22, 23 win team. I feel like they're going to be better than because I do think Ayton and Robert Williams is a pretty solid big man duo. Like they did lose Brogdon, who, that's going to be kind of rough, but Denny was pretty good last season. I think adding that forward helps. I was a big believer in Scoot. I think he has a big bounce back second season. And I mean, Shane and Anthony Simons, maybe a trade happens before the year for Anthony. We've heard rumors that could be happening at some point, but I don't know. I don't feel like I need to factor that in quite yet. It's not like concrete enough. So yeah, let me look at the total. So for you picked 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 overs and 13 unders, which is, I feel like you can get that. You don't have to pick 15 and 15. I feel like that's a pretty good mix. And for me, for right now, because the Pelicans are a team I'm still looking at. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Okay, so we had the same amount of overs and unders in the end. It felt like I was going really over heavy.
Well, you and I went on an under streak at the end.
We did go on a bit of an under streak towards the end. Do I want to change it for the Pelicans? Do I think the Kings would be better than the Pelicans? Bro, I don't know.
I love how we did 30 teams and you're just stuck on the 1 win difference.
Bro, that was like a world-shattering moment for me. I was like, do I really think the Kings are going to be better than the Pelicans? Not that the Kings are bad or anything. I don't want Kings fans to be mad about this. But because, like, the Pelicans do have... I mean, I guess, like, with the Kings, it's Sabonis, it's Fox, it's DeRozan, maybe Keegan Murray takes a jump. They do have, like, a great six-man Malik Monk. But it's just with the Pelicans, like the depth is really good there. They've got Herb. The big man spot is just so rough. I always do worry also about Zion and Ingram's health. Like they can never stay on the court consistently.
So but they did last year and they still won 49 games.
Well, Zion played 70 games, which is a lot for him. Yeah, you're right. Ingram did miss a good bit of time there.
Trey Murphy missed a lot of the season to start too. I don't think he was. Didn't he have a really bad injury to start the year?
Yeah, he missed like the first month or so of the season, if I remember correctly. Just do I want to go up to 18 overs and 12 unders? I guess there were a few teams I was like, I'm going way under on. I guess so. I guess I'll switch it to over for the Pelicans.
Oh man, he switched. So you're gonna switch the Kings too?
Now I just had a thought of now do I put the Kings under? What if you know what? I have both of them winning 46 games. That'll make it even. I think they both win exactly 46 games.
There you go.
That's the only way to fix my conscience. Okay,
Dang,
there we go.
6 unders in a row for you.
I mean, before that I had this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 over streak, so I had to go ahead and even that one out. But yeah, this is our quick over unders. Let us know what you think. What did we get wrong? What were you a fan of? Is there anything we miscalculated on? Anything else we should have taken into account when talking about this? It's tough to predict win totals because, again, I mean, injuries could happen, more moves could take place. And it is like, it's not linear. One team, I've seen a lot of Rockets fans be like, oh, I think we could win like closer to 50 games this year because young team and development and all that stuff. It's tough too because the West just has gotten better. I think like the East, there's a lot of those bottom feeders. There's not as many in the Western Conference. The only team I think is going to be like bad are two of them. I think the Jazz and the Blazers will both be pretty bad this season relative to the competition. But even the Jazz, like still Lowry and Sexton, who are pretty good. But outside of that, like I think the Spurs are going to be much improved, even if the win total doesn't quite reach 37. And then everybody else above them, like I think the Rockets, even if the win total doesn't jump a lot, will be a lot better. So yeah, it's tough. But anyways, that was our over-unders. Ryan, if you had to go ahead and put like $100 or $1,000, like an insane, like just a ridiculous amount of money on one of these, which one of these do you feel the best about, and which one it makes you like the most kind of iffy? I'll go ahead and let me know if you want to scroll up or down. Can I even zoom out a little bit to show the whole thing?
Oh, that works.
Yeah, here's the whole thing.
I think I would put it on the Knicks over.
Okay.
And the Grizzlies under.
Those are the two you feel the most confident about?
Yeah.
Okay. For me...
And honestly, Blazers over. I think they win 24 games.
21. The only thing with the Blazers is, like, what if we're at the end of the season and they've got, like, 18 wins and they look over at the Eastern Conference and, like, the Wizards are sucking and the Pistons aren't producing that much and the Nets have, like, 6 wins and they're like, we need to take a bit more for Cooper Flag. I think that could be something that screws you up.
I know you're going to put your $1,000 on the Pistons over.
I'm not doing that. Who would I put a lot of money on with this? Who do I feel like really, really good about going over? Or I guess I could, pick an under as well. I guess I'll pick an over and an under like you did to kind of make that even. The under, I think Warriors under. I feel good about that.
Okay.
I feel good about that one. And then my over, I think I'm just gonna go with the Thunder. I feel good.
Okay.
Actually, the only thing is the only thing is if I'm betting like $1,000, like Shea misses like a month or something like that, like knock on wood, like multiple times.
That's for a lot of teams though.
I guess so, but just 56.5 is really high. I feel like I should pick someone kind of more towards the middle of the pack that I'm like, oh yeah, this team will be pretty solid.
I like Dallas 52. I think that would be one I would put money on.
Dallas feels pretty good. I picked so many unders near the bottom. That's crazy. Yeah. I guess I'll just honestly, I think the ones I feel the most confident on are the unders. There's a lot of teams where I'm like, yeah, this team's definitely going under. Like that one. I feel pretty good about that.
So we got to pick an over though. Which one are you putting the money on?
I'll stick with the Thunder. I'll just stick with that. I think I have to. For the brand and also like right away I was like, I think the Thunder go over. Maybe because it's a bias, but
All right, I rock with it.
All right. And real quick, what's the one like you feel the shakiest on?
Ooh, I mean probably that Nets one. I just think they're gonna have like a spurt where like Cam Thomas goes crazy and they win a couple games, and then they still have a couple other quality NBA players. But out of like in terms of like a team that's actually gonna be relevant, I think the one I'm the most iffy on. I'm scanning through. I mean, Milwaukee could be a lot better than I gave them credit for.
That is one I'm a little bit like,
but
yeah.
Or if the Nuggets do something competent to improve the roster, that could be they could smash that total too. But other than that, I feel pretty good about my picks.
I think the Suns are the one where like 47.5. I do think the defense is gonna be really bad, but it is still Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and Bradley Beal. Like that feels
with the point guard.
Yeah, with a point guard like that, it does feel like there's a
Tyus
war.
Jones is getting almost 10 assists a game with the freaking Wizards, man. Now
They
you
do
can
have
pass KD and Booker.
They do have Mike Budenholzer too as a new coach, which is
Yep.
interesting. Like, I mean, I think there is a world where the Suns win over 50 games. If they won over 50 games and kept healthy, I wouldn't be surprised. That's why I think that injury bug thing with them too is why I feel the teams that feel like they have that big injury risk. I'm like, I don't know where it could go. So I think like them and the Bucks are two of those teams where I'm like, feel a little bit shaky on. And of course, I did the whole Kings Pelicans thing, but I didn't want to pick them because obviously. But yeah, those were over unders. Again, like I said, let us know which ones you like the best, which takes did you hate, just think we're idiots for. And yeah, maybe this one we can come back to. Like I said earlier, like and subscribe if you enjoyed here on YouTube. Go ahead and subscribe to the podcast over on Spotify as well. Download 5 stars, whatever you do over there. I most of the time listen to my podcast on YouTube, so I don't know a ton about those platforms. But yeah, just show some love. We want the podcast episodes to be more and more frequent. It's just hard when I do some traveling for work and stuff like that. Ryan has tournaments, and I've also, recently signed on as talent with Snapback Sports. So go check out their channels as well. I'm going to be doing a lot on that. On all their platforms. I've already been doing stuff on Instagram and TikTok, making like reactions to the Olympic Games and doing some other stuff, making some social media posts. So yeah, go show that some love. I'm going to be doing a lot on their YouTube channel, traveling to games actually, which would be pretty cool when the season gets started. So that'll be a lot of fun. So with travel and stuff, we'll try to keep it as regular as we can. Maybe we'll do positional rankings. I know Ryan, that's something he really wants to do. So maybe we'll do positional rankings.
My Kobe White point guard ranking will.
Oh my God, I can't listen. We need to do it. So honestly, I can stop listening to talk about the whole Kobe White thing. I can't do it anymore.
He told me he was the worst point guard in the NBA.
I did not say that. We need to move on before he spouts more lies.
He put him in the F tier.
Let us know what other stuff you want to see down below in the comments. We can do positional rankings. I think that would be fun. Of course, we're going to do predictions before the season starts. Maybe it would be fun to do like we did the playoff draft, to do a team draft and like whoever racks up the most wins or something like that. And it's like if they win a playoff series, you get an extra couple of points. If
we just do we can do a regular season draft.
Yeah, we could just do a season-long team draft. I think that would be a lot of fun. So yeah, let us know what you want to see. Hopefully this starts becoming like a weekly or every other week thing. Ryan, you got anything else you want to go and wrap up with?
No, I'm trying to think what they should comment if they made it this far.
Ooh, that's true. You do need the thing to comment.
Comment the stupidest take that either stupidest probably is also not a word. Most stupid take that
saying stupidest might have been a bad way to start that sentence.
Who had the worst take in the video? Like who had the worst pick? Comment who you thought had the worst pick.
Yeah, comment down below who had the worst pick, and
but be nice about it.
Yeah, be comment who had the worst pick in a very nice way.
You can't just say Ryan's pick was stupid, or you can't say Connor knows nothing. You gotta
say y'all did a great job, and then you can go ahead and drop the bad take, and then be like, but Connor picking the Suns under was so stupid. He doesn't know anything. Like, phrase it like that. We would appreciate that. But anyways, we appreciate watching as always. Thank you for tuning into the 2-man game. I've been Cone. That's been Ryan. We appreciate y'all. Take care. See you later. Peace.